want the world. I don't think that they'd understand that everything's made to be broken. I just want you to know who I am.
Say it again.
Iris.
It's called
Ira.
Iris.
Yeah, one of my favorite songs.
Okay, Cherry's saving us a parking space on the curb.
Sweet. So
All right.
who snuck in? Ah,
Uh,
Beth.
Beth.
You
Hi,
haven't let her,
Beth.
you haven't let her in yet.
Oh, she's not here. She's not in. She's not
Okay. We need Beth R with us. Let's get
in. Morning, Beth.
Morning.
Everybody's
done.
almost everyone's muted, but we're not. Guy isn't. Brad isn't.
Okay. I'm gonna move this over here so we remember to take the blanket with us.
So, got a reading today, and
Linnell, you want to mute everyone?
Yes, I will.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you for that reminder.
from Dana Falls, who most of you by now are familiar with that name.
I've been reading her in yoga a lot.
Big fan of Linnell's. And Dana Falls is one of maybe 10 people I would actually love to sit in a room with and just listen to her, because her take on yoga is the closest to my feeling about the whole thing being about the energy. And she's just got a great Kripalu teacher. And so she writes this: despite illness of body or mind, in spite of blinding despair or habitual belief, who you are is whole. Okay? That sounds so totally alien to our mindset. It takes a radical reversal of our gestalt. We're so used to thinking of ourselves as broken, and that we have to fix ourselves. That's what Christianity taught us. We're all sinners. We come into the world with original sin. So this idea that we came in whole, what? And to really let that land is something you need to spend time with. Let nothing keep you separate from the truth. The soul, illuminated from within, longs to be known for what it is. Okay? Let's look at that line. The soul longs to be known for what it is. The Hindus tell a story that God created everything that exists because he was lonely, and he kept remembering when he was a rock that he was still God and it was still him. So he created plants and animals and still remembered that she was God. Finally created human beings and totally forgot that they were God. We have forgotten that we start out sacred, we start out whole, and the soul wants to be remembered that what it is, as the Hindus say, is Sat Chit Ananda, that you are being. Okay, but think about that. Everything that exists, all you're tied to that interconnected web of being, that quantum field. We are all one. It's not just a pretty little phrase to make a bunch of bucks, making a song. It's the fundamental reality that we've forgotten. I'm being, I'm consciousness, I'm awareness, the awareness that enables me to know I think. That's the question the West doesn't ask. How do I know? I think, therefore I am. Well, dumbass, how do you know you're thinking? Because awareness precedes thought, it precedes feeling, it precedes everything. Plants, animals, they're aware. Babies are aware. Then thought comes and starts screwing everything up. But fundamentally, the field of awareness is your true identity. And bliss is not something you attain. It is your fundamental nature. How do you know that? Well, the other religions invite us to look out there and see that the world is at play. Leela, it's out there dancing. And what I love about what Whitefeather said in how to respond to the crises we're going through as a country, he said, do what the Native Americans have done for 300 years of genocide, what they do in Africa and apartheid. Sing, dance, light your fires, get in community, tell your stories, remember who you are, remember who your soul is. Now this being, consciousness, bliss that you are is undying. Can't be extinguished. No matter what happens to you, no matter how far away you've gotten, there's always a road back. It's untouched by the fires or storms of life. There's a place inside you where stillness and abiding peace reside. And here's the kicker. And you can ride the breath to go there. Duh. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today, is riding the breath to reconnect with this fundamental nature that we've forgotten who we are. Despite doubt or hopeless turns of mind, you are not broken. Spirit surrounds, embraces, and fills you from the inside out and from the outside in. You could have added that too. Release everything that isn't your true nature. When we talk about sacrifice, okay, the point of giving up thing, that's not genuine sacrifice. When you go to the widow's mite, the example Jesus has, is that because when she gives something, she's giving up something that's essential to her physical survival, to something that really goes at the root of our fear and what we cling to. And she's willing to surrender that in honor and gratitude of everything that she's received. And so we're reminded here that all these things that we think are us are what we sacrifice, what we're letting go of, all the conditioning, all the thoughts, all the ideas that are so precious to us, we're letting go of. Why? Because that's the road back. These are the layers and layers of accretions, of defenses that we put up between us and the world. I sacrifice them. I give them up. They mean nothing. They're useless. I give them back. And what's left? The fullness, the light and shadow. Claim all that is your birthright. Claim all that is your birthright. So when we say entitlement, it's a word that is, we're such an entitled culture. We think we're entitled to everything except the thing we really are entitled to, which is being, consciousness, and bliss. Why are we entitled to it? Is because it's the essence of who we are. So what I want Liddell to put them on the screen now for us is what's being reinforced now, how this ties in with something you hear me talk about, which is polyvagal theory. And polyvagal theory is a way of discussing the road back. How do we get back to the garden? How do we get back to this essential nature? Who's trying to get in?
I don't know, but they're going to have to wait.
Okay. So when we talk about ventral is the garden. Ventral is the state that we're trying to get to. It's the way we come into the world. We're open.
Socially, it's misspelled. Interesting. We didn't realize that comes off.
Because they're ADD. So when we're like children, we're curious, we're open, we feel grounded, we're very mindful, we're naturally compassionate. The world is open. We feel like socially engaging. We don't feel shame. We don't feel guilt. We haven't learned to fear the world yet. Every fear you have, except maybe the fear of falling, you've been taught. You need to think about that. Every fear you have is a learned fear. And so what happens is these are different parts of your nervous system. This is your parasympathetic nervous system. So in Hinduism, you see the twined serpents, and that is the way they describe your energy channels. And the two serpents are sympathetic, parasympathetic, all right? And they intertwine and intersect at your chakras. So we're totally open. This parasympathetic nervous system, we stay in it pretty often until we start getting wounded. The more we get wounded, the more we go into fight or flight, which is called the sympathetic part. All right. And these are the symptoms of being in sympathetic, in the fight or flight mode. And you need to learn them, because the reason I'm encouraging us to do this is so you learn to wake up. That when you're feeling fight, flight, fawn, immediately know you're tranced out. Okay. Trance means that your whole worldview has shifted. Your whole sense of yourself has shifted. You are no longer in reality. You're in a reality that's being filtered through every trauma you have ever suffered. Let me say that again. Your reality is being filtered through every trauma you have ever suffered. So what do? I start trying to control. Everything I could do in my life right now, can't tell you. Half my client, God, I got so much work done on my house this weekend. Got everything organized. Not a good thing, people. In our culture, Protestant work ethic, yeah, good thing. As far as your spiritual life, not so much. Okay, we start bullying. We start wanting other people to succumb to our will, to prove that they care about us, to don't do things that annoy me, whatever. Okay, we start overworking. We make ourselves indispensable.
Overthinking.
We overthink. Okay, we're trying to get in control of life because we no longer trust it. We start people pleasing. That's what the fawn part means. We're over worried. We're in our social cognition trying to, when you're obsessing about why someone said something, why they think about us. All of these things are fight or flight, whether you've identified it as that or not. Panicking, wanting to run, obviously is the flight part. So when Jesus talks about we go through life sleepwalking, that's correct. We're in a somnambulistic state. You think you're in reality, but again, it's heavily filtered by this trauma. The world is not safe. I'm cut off from my true nature. I'm no longer wearing the world like a loose garment. I'm at war with the world. All right? That will exhaust you. We've looked at all the things that come from being in fight or flight. Most people like y'all come to me in burnout. I want to keep doing all the stuff I'm doing because it's essential to my survival. So don't ask me to stop working so hard. Don't ask me to stop people pleasing. Don't ask me to stop avoiding, because that's the only thing keeping me alive. No, that's what's exhausting you. Okay. That's why you're sick all the time. That's why you don't have any energy. That's why you have brain fog. So finally we go into freeze state. And freeze is where we totally start dissociating, where we start numbing out. You have that disconnected feeling. You're like a half second behind reality. You want to isolate. You want to shut down. You don't want to engage. All the things you used to take an interest in, like Nandi, when he first came to us, you couldn't get him to eat. You couldn't get him to play with his toys. You couldn't get him to come get pet. He just wanted to sit in the corner and be left alone.
Withdrawn.
Totally withdrawn and inward, all the energy. Now, this is a parasympathetic state too. And you'll see it in animals when they, where you just kind of totally give up the will to live.
But it's not the good kind of
No,
parasympathetic.
it's what would be the dark side, because you've really decided my life is in danger. I can't expend any energy because I might need this energy just to survive the next day. So it's a totally shut down defensive. Now, why am I emphasizing this? We have to read this in the context of the promise that you really are ventral, and that the ventral part of your nervous system didn't just disappear because you've gone into fight or flight, or because you've gone dorsal. The kingdom is still right outside.
It's available.
It's still available to you. And so all the techniques that you're learning are being validated. So what we mean by neuroplasticity is that you can move up and down this chart several times a day. As a matter of fact, if you're healthy, that's not being bipolar. if you are healthy, you can go from being scared, and you'll see this in children, and then the next minute they're out playing like nothing ever happened. They'll be totally shut down, depressed because you took away their toy, they lost their best friend. The next day they're back out playing. We get stuck, we get frozen in these states. So, one way of looking at meditation is learning to control your biocomputer, to learn that the quickest way, how do you move back ventral? It's all fun stuff to do, but it's like I came up with this thing, oh, I forgot to dance my life today. Because literally, you have to wake up to remember that I don't have to live this way. It's become so habitual that we forget I didn't start out this way. I don't have to live this way. And it's a choice. Once you get master some of these techniques, you'll see, wow, I sit down, I meditate for 20 minutes. I move from being sympathetic to being ventral. I move from dorsal to ventral. Then these words start taking on meaning. So today, as we do this, look at how breath. Last week we talked um, about about how when you meditate, you shift in your brain and you move around to different places. Now we're talking about another place in the body highly affected, which is your nervous system and your particular vagus nerve. So when you breathe, you're doing both. You're coming into the present moment. That disconnects the monkey mind. The monkey mind keeps you in fight or flight. This is how it's connected, because the monkey mind is only bringing up traumatic memories. So there's no way out of it by engaging that. So if you do that, it's not that you're bad, it's that you're forgetting to wake up. So this learning to come back to the present moment, it's the present moment that disconnects from the part of your brain that's traumatized. It moves you back to the prefrontal cortex, back to the here and now. So the breath, being anchored in the here and now, being anchored in your body sensations also disconnects the monkey mind. So these things work in concert to keep shifting you ventral. If you can get into environments which also keep you ventral, which are things like music, like singing, like being in a beautiful natural environment, petting an animal, getting a massage, walking, art, drawing, creativity, that also will do it. So it's like remember to dance your life today. Why are you slogging along when you could be singing, you could be dancing?
If you
Well, I don't feel like it. Of course not. That's why we sing and we dance. We dance to make the shift. So people, well, I don't feel like it. Well, exactly. Just do it. When you do it, then you'll feel like doing it. Get it?
You don't dance your dance.
Who will? So let's meditate. Let's dance our dances. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I have a little more? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I love you. If you've already drifted away, let your awareness come back to your breath gently. Knowing that your mind is doing what it's trained to do. And every time you come back to the present, you're training your mind to wake up. Anthony DeMello invites us, when we drift off, to examine where you were and to recognize it for the nightmare that it is. And as you come back to the present moment and you land, you catch your breath, you get your legs back under you, how delicious that feels compared to where you were. Where is your body? Are the sensations with you in this moment? If not, invite them in. Honored guests, there to help you. You have a choice, monkey mind, body. Who do you choose? Not always pleasant, but better than the nightmare. At least they're real. Where is your sense of the world around you? Are you so internalized that you've lost the sound of the traffic, the clock ticking, the air conditioning, the dog grunting? They're to invite you outside of yourself, always in the present moment. They're to support your meditation, to coming back and remembering who you are. All the gifts of the present moment. Notice any resistances to being in the present, any restlessness and impatience, frustration, anxieties, and boredom, self-doubt. See that underneath that is a longing. A deep, deep, frustrated longing to be at peace, to go home. Your body remembers that, longs for it. So look deeper. Don't extinguish that longing, that hunger for abundant life. Just understand where it will be resolved. Where will you find fulfillment for that hunger? And the answer is right here, right now. Extend gratitude to yourself for having the patience and the courage to undo what's been done and to reclaim what's yours. Welcome back. So, questions, comments? Go ahead.
I had an interesting experience shaking off the monkey mind. I find a minor annoyance to the fact that this happens when the lawn people are in the neighborhood, and I was able to kind of forget about that, but I'm kind of distracted because out the window they're sometimes right there.
Right.
And just about the time that you were talking about reintegrating the now around you,
Right.
I realized they were gone. But then I started focusing on the fact that I could hear an airplane going overhead. And I thought, so what?
Yeah.
And I was able to kind of lose that because sometimes they're really low here and then it is annoying. I
Right.
couldn't shake that off, but it wasn't. And then my monkey mind kept creeping back in thinking, but that's not a threat. That airplane is not dropping bombs. It's not a drone.
Right.
I don't need to find a safe space. And my siblings will know about this because we were talking to our other sibling who was in contact with a family that had just arrived from Israel. And as the children got off the plane, they said to their parents, well, where's the safe space? Where's our safe room? And I thought, I am safe.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it just broke through and I thought, I am safe right here, right now. And the planes and the machines and the birds and anything, nothing is a threat to me. And
Right.
it was an interesting evolution because then I just let go.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So look at who is it who's frustrated by the sound outside. It's not you. Don't call it you. It's your monkey mind. So with your
The
true
mind.
self, true self has no resistances. It's the sky. It's not going to fight with anything that passes through, whether it's an airplane or rain, pollution, pollen, doesn't care. It's going to pass through without resistance, without clinging. So it's kind of interesting because we'll use the monkey mind to try and fight the monkey mind. Well, that's an infinite no gain endeavor, right? And you just eventually give up and get tired of the game, you go, like you said, and just, okay, I'm here. So you can't think yourself to safety. Understand, that's impossible to do. Safety doesn't come externally. There is no safe place. You're going to die. Ego doesn't like this, so it's always developing strategies for continuing to survive. It is a whole different place when you actually land in safety. So trying to convince yourself that you can float on water, you're going to continue to sink. Becoming curious about the moments where you feel supported by the water is a much more fruitful endeavor. Let's just say more skillful. So begin watching for what are those moments where I finally land. I'll just tell you a story. I was tripping on acid one time, and I was coming back into reality, and there were multiple levels of reality, and they were all strung out like I was coming into the starship, trying to land on the starship, and there are all these different decks, and I'm trying to decide which one is the right one. And I finally pick one, and as I'm coming in, my ship disappears, and I'm coming in like I'm on a hang glider, and my little legs are going like this as I come down the runway, and I finally stop. And when I hit the ground, I felt this sense of relief, of peace that just, oh, I'm home. I'm home. And I said, why do I keep leaving this? Why do I trip when the whole time I'm tripping, there's this anxiety? And here, when I'm in reality, I feel so totally connected. It's so real. It's so totally present. And that was the last time I tripped. So you'll get that feel when you land that all that fell away. And there's layers after layers of distance between us and that reality. But each place you get more and more relief. Let it heal you. That's what I was trying to go to today. Let those sounds keep you in the present, Donna.
Mm.
They're there to support your practice. They're not there to distract you from your practice.
Yeah.
They're your allies. Your body is your ally. Everything that monkey mind's fighting with, it's because it wants to keep control of you. And if you start paying attention to that shit, it loses control. Yeah, that's the joke. That's the joke.
I'm getting the punchline.
Yeah, I know you. I felt it land. Yeah. Anybody else? Good stuff.
I had the experience of watching myself move away from being in the present and then telling myself, well, it's related to what you're doing. And, and then watching myself and watching the monkey mind reacting and finally being able to let go of that and not make excuses. And I thought, okay, you do that a lot. So it was helpful for me to watch the way my mind works and to be aware of it rather than just let it happen.
Okay. Now again, good, good. So ask yourself, who is the one, who is this running commentary on what I'm doing? So that's the guy you want to catch out because that's the monkey mind, our wanting to describe to ourselves what it is that we're experiencing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The inner roommate.
Yeah. And again, stuff is so subtle.
I had an interesting journey. Oh, I had an interesting journey.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Oh, you can? Okay, my little box wasn't lighting up. I was worried. I was like, oh no. The worst when I'm chanting and then no one hears it. And we're like, oh, why is my sound not working? Trauma. So I had an interesting moment listening and being with the talk and the vagus nerve. And I do feel like I was completely in and have been in fight or flight / freeze. I think I've been in fight and flight. And just letting being here do the work, because I think I'm too tired to try to relax myself. I'm too frustrated. So I just let go into what you were saying in terms of another word. I guess the word that's coming to me is the authentic self and all of the other hurt kind of things falling off.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a moment, and I'm assuming that it's in your box because you guys were unmuted. There was a bird or a frog. And I felt your bodies regulate. This is my story. And like transmitting light, it boom, and my body regulated. And I immediately, your body's hearing it, my body heard, because the sound in your box changed from that sound. The presence, whatever happened.
Yeah.
And it hit me, poof, and my body dropped in. And then I was thinking about transmitting light and the metaphor for darkness and light within all of the Zen text. And, the darkness is not seeing the oneness, and the light is all the interconnectivity and, you know, shining the light on all the things we don't see regularly because they're blocked by monkey mind or whatever. And so I found that interesting, but I let it go. And then as we were just going through the meditation, there was a moment as the mind was kind of processing and not attaching, processing and not attaching, started thinking about my son's school and his teacher, and then something just about our work here today and taking the time. There was a real just letting go, letting go, letting go, and all the clenched muscles. I mean, one of the hard things, TMI, is like, oh, I smell like sweat and urine because I cough a little. I'm at that time in my life where I cough and I pee a little. And I'm like, whoa, okay. But I hadn't been in that reality. Like it wasn't awake. I couldn't smell it until I started coming into presence. But I didn't let it get me upset. You know, I wasn't like, oh, I smell like me. Oh, I smell. I'm like, okay, I'm present. That's interesting. And then something towards the end where there really was like this, my breath became a bellow, and I wasn't trying to make my breath a bellow. I wasn't trying to release everything. It did it. And so I'm very grateful.
Well, good.
And that's my journey.
Okay, so I like that you're kind of noticing the contrast of falling in, falling out. And, you know, we talk a lot in recovery about letting go, and we have this image of hanging onto a branch in the darkness and your feet are dangling in the abyss. And people on the outside are looking at you going, you're only 6 feet off the ground, dumbass. Just let go of the branch. I can't. The only thing keeping me alive. No, it's the only thing keeping you suffering. Let go of the branch, you know. And so I'm like Pee Wee Herman in his Great Adventure, where he wrecks his bike in front of the kids and he bounces up and goes, I meant to do that. So I find that I get exhausted and I fall off the branch, and when I land, I hop up and go, I meant to do that. So, yeah, notice the feeling of compression and expansion. It's one of the biggest clues for me that I've landed. If I think I've landed and I don't have the expansion, I haven't really totally done it. It's that sense of really letting go. Now, to address what you were saying about your heart, again, the universe brought this to hand, and I'm going to read it. Okay. In 1974, the largest human consciousness experiment ever conducted, 7,000 people meditated together, focusing on peace for 3 weeks. The results: crime, violence, and war dropped globally by 16%. What they proved will shake you. This wasn't a philosophy class, it was real measured experiment led by physicists and meditation expert. And their goal was to test if consciousness could affect reality. The theory was called the Maharishi effect because it was Maharishi's people who were doing this. The thought was, even if 1% of a population meditates in coherence, that means towards the same goal at the same time, crime and conflict should measurably drop. So they tried it. 7,000 advanced meditators gathered in Iowa at their headquarters, and for 3 straight weeks focused only on one outcome: world peace. During those 27 days, independent observers noticed violent crime dropped by 16%, suicide rates declined, fewer people went to hospitals, ongoing global conflicts cooled. No laws were changed, no leaders were replaced, just 7,000 people syncing their brainwaves. Skeptics said, coincidence, so researchers tried again. And here's the one I knew about. In Washington, D.C., 4,000 people gathered. By week 3, homicide rates were down 15%, emergency calls fell, even weather patterns stabilized. And this is the part I love. The FBI quietly took notice. The science: meditation increases alpha and theta wave And when thousands sink in this state, it creates a measurable, coherent field. That field doesn't just stay inside of you, it ripples outward. You've heard me say this, your heart's electromagnetic field is 5,000 times stronger than your brain's. It extends 8 to 12 feet beyond you, and I have a thing where I use dowsing rods, have people walk towards me. At about 8 to 10 feet, the dowsing rods part like this. You can measure your energy field, it's there. When thousands align in love or peace, that scale grows exponentially. Dr. Hagelin, quantum physicist, said we're not isolated islands of consciousness. We're connected like drops of the same ocean. And you'll love this for our thing. Ancient texts say the same. Modern neuroscience now measures it. And that's what we're doing here. The ancient texts have said this. Now we're developing the science to test it. So, Rachel, when we sit and meditate in coherence, we strengthen each other's attachment to the source. Okay? So I love what you said, because when we gather together, we are creating that coherence, which invites us. It does create a safe place to begin to drop it, but that safe place isn't an external place. This is a manifestation of something we can plug into, even when we're not together. And I'm doing some experiments now with my people. I go to sleep at 10:35 every night, and I invite you to join me. What I do is I bring everybody on the screen here into awareness and just invite us all to go to this place before we go to sleep. So that's 10:30 Central Standard Time, 10:35. If you want to make that a practice, join me in being mindful of the Sangha and sharing that before we go to bed. See if we can sense that like you sensed us today. So thank you for that. Anybody else?
Just one thing, I just want to say I feel that every time when we meditate, we're all these people from everywhere around, and I feel like we're healing each other, not even knowing. Sometimes when I come in, I feel like I'm in the movie Rear Window. I'm looking out and I'm seeing in everybody else's apartment what's going on.
Yeah.
But then when we start meditating, it becomes so much more kinder, and it becomes like we're doing the same thing, and we're not, but we are.
Yeah.
And we're just here for each other. And even if we're so far away, and my storyline will go all over the world where y'all are sitting,
Yeah.
I can get out from that again and come back into reality. To the present,
Yeah.
and let the story go. But it's a lovely story, so I'm glad to be here.
Okay. And I had a vision in my 20s of the world having us being in a spiritual placenta with umbilical cords tied into each other, and that we can draw nourishment from each other. So one of the challenges, and those of you who are therapists know, is to learn object constancy, to learn that mom doesn't disappear just because I can't see her. And it's the same way with the connection that we feel here. This connection doesn't disappear just because we're not on screen. So you can draw from each other. Even that's what this not being spatial and not being temporal means. It means it's accessible to you all the time, but you have to wake up. That's the takeaway today. You have to wake up. You have to remember to access it.
So, Bart, since we in Colorado are an hour behind you, could you stay up an hour later? I'm really, I've been going to bed at 9:30, and that's just way too early. I want to stay up later.
Okay. Well,
You can still tune in. You don't have to go to bed.
You don't
can
have
still
to go to
use
bed.
that
Tune in.
time.
Or
Oh, I'm so tired at 9:30.
Yeah.
It's your fault. Now I know why. It's not that I'm getting older.
That's right. You felt it.
Well, let's get back on our individual journeys and carry your light. I I have someone this week who's living in so much darkness. And I love that quote that says, if everything around you is dark, perhaps you're the light. Remember that, guy. If everything around you dark, perhaps you're the light. Keep your light lit. If you can't, and remind me next week to tell you about the Jewish woman from Shreveport who survived the Nazi concentration camps and how they survived their death march. Anyhow.
Deep breath in.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling that everything's going my way.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Love you guys.
Have a great week. Take care.
Thank you all.
Remember, dance your dance, sing your song, light your
Light
light.
your fire.
Yoga.
Who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all. Thank you, Tiffany.